Und damit willkommen zurück zu The Great Ace Attorney Results 2 Chronicles. Wir sind immer noch bei unserem lieben guten alten Lord Stronghard. Und der will uns was über Dr. Miko Toba erzählen, habe ich mir sagen lassen. If my memory serves, it was 15 years ago that your father came to Britain was as a visiting student. It was the year I was born. It was the year I was born. 16 years ago, in fact. Miko Toba was a young practitioner forensic science, and he could accompanied him as a young promising cadet. The punctiliousness and politeness of the Japan, the fact at the time pressed as greatly. Now that I wish to imply politeness or carelessness on your part in any way, I didn't think that you were. Dr. Miko Toba studied forensic at the one of London's large hospital, St. Sinners, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Seit was also there then, as it happens. Then Dr. Seit knows that Mother does she was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly, but if I have no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Miko Toba was here studying his subject for 6 years in total. 6 years is a long time to be studied abroad, isn't it? I lived with my grandmother in those years, so left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 full years. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Oh, perhaps a father wanted a reason to get away. What do you mean, why? Ich weiß es dann wahrscheinlich auch nicht. Well, clearly something was going on at the time. Dann eben über Lat von 6, wenn man da auch nicht nennenswerterweise was in Erfahrung gebracht hat, was da in der Zeit passiert ist, aber wird wahrscheinlich so einiges passiert sein in Japan. Ja, von dieser Zeit würde ich zumindest mal behaupten. Lat von 6, weil hundertprozentig mit der japanischen Geschichte habe ich mich auch nicht befasst, um das näher sagen zu können. I wanted to ask you about Lord von 6 actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago, but by a mass murderer, knowing as a professor who tortured nobles in reality. Is that right? You Japanese are so a lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the Reaper. But why? When his brother Clint von 6 was murdered, it was just after young Baroque had graduated from the University of London and become a prosecutor. When a busy criminals was managed to evade convictions and cats started disappearing, rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say that wherever Baroque von 6 went the ghost of sister's brother wasn't far behind. Oh my lord. Also, Lord 6 isn't the Reaper, it's the ghost of his brother? Every since that time became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles. Das heißt also, wir haben jetzt halt auch gut und gerne mit ihm alles besprochen, sowieso sieht OES Lord Stronghard. Go ahead. It's about Professor Haynes' experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains of possible. You're well versed in science then, not in the slightest. In fact, you could say it was barely aware of the subject it was all until recently. Was the special decisions legal preventing investigating of the machine currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. Seid's team of forensics experts will begin their own investigation, but I suppose until there's no harm in you looking at the wreckage as long as you're touching nothing. Thank you. Being able to look at it is better than nothing, and to be able to see it too. Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls. We are extremely sorry to have you trouble you when you are so busy, my lord. I have important matters to attend in preparation for the symbiose, you understand. Okay. New Location. Okay, aber da gehen wir jetzt ganz zum Schluss hin, muss man sagen. Jetzt erstmal ins Gefängnis. Wir können noch mit unserem Klienten reden, der sonst nichts zu tun hat, außer an der Wand rumzukritzeln und Formel aufzuschreiben, I guess. 23. Oktober, Local Prison Zelle 11. What's he doing? He is, oh my, the whole wall. The cell is converted in mathematical equation, and he is still writing more now. Professor, sorry to interrupt. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. And who is this young lady? My name is Susatomi Kotoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's charity assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor. Oh, if only I'd meet a refining young woman like you sooner. None of this would have happened. No, that is local. That makes no sense at all. Oh dear, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if my presence there upset you. I owe you only apologize to Mr. Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you would in court this morning. Oh no. The whole thing, the whole miserable affair, it all happened because I've been such a complicated and utter clod. Professor Hairbrain, what have you been working on yourself? Oh, you mean that? Oh dear, you, how impressive. I was suddenly struck by an idea. You see, and simply had to write it down. The wall was all I had to hand. Oh, it's some new hypothesis. Something to surpass your super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Das ist ja auch immer vorbeigegangen, diese Idioten gewählt. Oh no, actually this is my autobiography. Your autobiography. How I was delighted and fiddled by Albert Hairbrain. I found I can represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers in ambiguous set of simultaneous equations. Really? I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see. So it's going to be a new serial publications from the next month, part 1, and odd birth and odd upbringing. You can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talk it a little more about the case? Oh yes, of course. I've been working through numbers. I was fiddled by the pair of them. Everything's already wieder los bin, I guess. By Asman and by that aloof engineered Repart. We're not going to have to sit through an explanations of all the equations are real. Aber irgendwie gefühlt sage ich das in letzter Zeit zu einigen Mandanten. Aber gut. Dann reden wir mal mit ihm über das Royal. Everything I believed in has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Esmond, is the kinesis machine, my hypothesis even. I'm sorry it came to this, there was really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public. No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning I realized something. Oh. If you have done something wrong without killing it, you still done something wrong locally. It makes no difference if you were aware of it or not. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me. Oh, Professor. He believed in me this morning. You know, Baroque did believe in my hypothesis. Well, I think that was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing its case. No, Baroque would like to something like this. I'm sure he keenly believed it. Did he? I think understand now why it was that decided to take in prosecution in my trial. I mean, okay, dann haben wir gleich eine Mann. Also Wissenschaftler sind bestimmt eine eigene Sorte von Menschen, muss ich mal so sagen. Dementsprechend, yay. After the trial accident happened, nobody would believe in my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyer even. I feel like I did lay some kind of fishing below there. So if any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Barack, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypotheses are complicated and other nonsense. And in the case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor. Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. But Baroque insisted that was a proper man of science from start to finish. You think that why he? I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. But extremely kind-hearted soul. Spent all morning trying to paint as a murderer, didn't he? Even space, yay. Oh. Let me intently set up part of the analysis appears to have some flaws in it. And what about the voodoo side of things? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea? Okay, es ist nothing anderes dazu gekommen. Aber das heißt immer noch nichts bei den anderen Sachen. Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start? I'm sorry to say that it does seems like the yes. When I first meet him, he introduced this as a Wesley financier. He looked over the paper it written, said my work would benefit all humanity must be processed. He was so enthused that he was so emphatic, but in really he was this masterate some of one of vast criminal network it seems. I still can't believe it. As the machine was essential, set decorations for some stage. It probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually, but the scale of it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deceptions. All you signs are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas full of zeal, but none of you have any money. We want to research, but we can't afford it. Many of us take on barely legal part-time work to try to earn just a few measly pennies to carry on. Oh boy, was ist mit dem falsch? To go through all of that only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe. It is I agree, and that's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Esmond is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer, Mr. Enoch Trebler. Ja, der gute Herr. Mal schauen, was er dann dazu zu sagen hat als Zeuge. Oh boy, es wird noch yay, würde ich mal behaupten. wobei das nicht so überzeugend ist, muss ich fairerweise auch sagen. Dann auch von mir fairerweise auch nicht so überzeugt, muss man gestehen. Is he an engineer or a Mexican or swindler? It was about a year ago when Mr. Esmond first brought Trevor to meet me at my laboratory. He signs that I have meet him many times to discuss details about the Kinesis machine, but at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist. Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist. What do you mean he was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge? There's no question that it's a man's genius scientist. It's instantly apparent. In conversation, I see. But the regiment side, you professor, it's unforgivable. We must everything we can to find him, bring him to justice. Are you no more clues as you can give us as this whereabouts? I'm sorry, we'll only ever discuss this Kinesis machine, nothing else. Ist ja auch wirklich sehr hilfreich, muss man sagen, although just once I did visit his workshop. What it works? Trevor's enormous fabrications laboratory where here he constructed my great machine. Why did you mention this before? Not Trevor's workshop. There's every chance we made fights the man. Okay, es gibt doch noch was mit ihm zu bereden, I guess. So you've been to Trevor's place of work then? Yes, just you understand. It works was enormous place, plenty of room to construct the Kinesis machine, you see. Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. There's a good chance that we'll find Trevor there. Well, yes, definitely. I'm sure you're not going to win to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm so sorry, I was more than half expecting that. Er kann mehr Hoffnung machen, als das eigentlich der Fall ist, muss man fairerweise schon mal sagen. You see was blindfolding in the carriage, the interior way there. He blindfolded you. He wasn't talking anything in space. The place was incredible, sir. In case of modern engineering. Even the oil he used was the very best, a special French machine oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. The indescribable scent of the important oil. Ja, wie geschickt immer so die ganzen Spezialisten von Klienten ab. Actually, gerade through performance across the board should forget their secret formula and use that instant. What do you think, Susato? The machine for your next birthday? I've never used any kind of perfume, Mr. Naruhodo, and I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor. You don't have a business card from Mr. Trevor, for example. The man was clearly Also ich darf das wieder mal nicht vorlesen, okay. Ah. Yes, I do. I have give his business card once it's right here. Look. What? Let me see that. There's etiquette to wind, why don't you? Enough driver engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address. No. Oh well, I can't say I am surprised still. This could be useful. Oh boy, die will ich mir jetzt noch fairerweise anschauen, muss man sagen. Muss man sagen. Was ist das denn? Ihr seid ja schon wieder. This dark smudge there. I think perhaps it's machinery. Ah yes, possible Professor Hairbrain intention something about the old rabbi uses, didn't he? He said it was special, important, very high quality oil that impossible to retain in Britain. Yes, that's right, but more importantly, that is more fragment than the finest perfume, so excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all. Don't worry, I expect that just because there is such a tiny amount on there. Okay, also war es doch noch richtig, die zu untersuchen, I guess. Ich weiß jetzt nicht, ob die ihm noch irgendwie nennenswerterweise präsentieren soll oder nicht, aber ich würde mal sagen, im nächsten Part schauen wir uns mal hier ein bisschen um. Mal schauen, was es hier noch am 23. Oktober The Great Exhibition Grounds Food of the Crystal Tower so zu berichten gibt und vor allem was China Landstraight mit dem Hund, warum sie dann mit dem Hund spielt. Dies und vieles mehr erfahren wir am nächsten Part. Vielen Dank, macht's gut.